Welcome back to the vlog. If you're new here, my name is Vin and I document my journey building a business in my 20s. And today we are in Paris. First time I've ever been here. But the reason we're here is because in 2 days, we're heading down to Cannes for the Cannes Lions Creativity Festival. If you're not familiar with that, it's basically the Super Bowl for influencer marketing and the advertising space. All of the top influencers are going to be there. All the top brands are going to be there. It's an event that's really hard to get to and really expensive. And up until about 2 weeks ago, I didn't even think I was going. And I wound up working something out with Adobe. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time with Adobe Express and also Meltwater, doing some brand deals for them, capturing content. But before we get to Cannes, I've never been to Paris before. So we're spending 48 hours here in Paris, just doing some sightseeing, spending the weekend here. And then we head down to Cannes. And I have to show you this little balcony that we have for our hotel. It's super tiny, it's the smallest hotel I've ever stayed in. But if you can see very closely, you can see the Eiffel Tower. Alright, since we only had 48 hours in Paris and we've never been, we just did an all-out speed run. We started off with some cappuccinos. That was $67, by the way, for 2 cappuccinos. We did some walking around some parks. I was also on a mission for some jorts. So here's me trying on some different jorts. These ones were too big, but then we headed to the Louvre, walked around for a bit, and then cooled off with some spritzes. Got ready for dinner. We went to this place called Maxim's, and then we made it to the Eiffel Tower. Now, I actually didn't know that the sparkles went on every single night at 10 p.m., but this was amazing, and we even got to see this from our balcony in our hotel. So we just got to Cannes last night. We just got back from 48 hours in Paris. Check out all the tourist attractions, the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, the Louvre. It's a huge city. Like, everything felt like it was a 30-minute Uber ride apart. There's a lot to see in terms of like tourist attractions and all that stuff, and it's super crowded. So when you're going to these tourist attractions, there's lines everywhere. Just to see the Mona Lisa, which ironically enough, we have a replica in our Airbnb here. But just to see the original Mona Lisa, there is like a massive line. You're basically just squished in sardines. If I was ever going back to Paris, I think what I would want to prioritize is just like casually strolling, checking out neighborhoods, sitting at cafes longer. And we made it down here for Cannes. We're going to be here at the conference for the whole week. We have a busy week this week, spending the time with Adobe, going to different events, concerts. I think we're going to a Jason Derulo concert of all things. And then the weekend, we're going to head to the beaches, relax a bit, eat some good food. The morning started off meeting up with the Adobe team and heading over to the Majestic Hotel. Adobe created this little boutique, and inside, all the creators took a quiz to find out their creator type. Once we got our results, we picked out some patches to create a customized tote bag. And with that tote bag, you were able to do some like fake shopping basically. So we got to try on some sunglasses. Here's me, Brandon, and Colin. And then we headed over to the beach. Now, each of these companies basically have their own like little beach club. And right now you're looking at the Meta Beach Club, where you got to try on the Meta frames, experience different activations, and network. But we were getting hungry, so we decided to treat ourselves to a nice lunch at the Carlton, which is this like famous hotel in Cannes, which to our surprise, we're gonna be spending a lot more time here with LinkedIn. Afterwards, we headed to an event at the Carlton with LinkedIn, of course, and they created this studio with Adobe Express, where they actually encourage you to create some content, edit with Adobe Express, and post to LinkedIn. But then we headed up to the rooftop where we heard from a panel on how these executives are leveraging LinkedIn to grow their business. What's the one thing AI will never be able to do better than you?
Sell. Ooh, cry. I can cry better than AI.
What brand would you work for free with and why?
JetBlue, because I would pray to God that they would just fly me anywhere I wanted at all times in their first class, in their Mint, because their seats are pristine and they're so nice and I love them.
If you had unlimited budget, what would you do?
Ooh, I think I would do some sort of road trip and like stay at the nicest hotel in all 50 states.
Day 2 is where we headed to the Adobe Coca-cola activation, where inside we got a demo of Adobe Express and Gen Studio. Afterwards, we all were handed these personalized cups, and we were able to get any flavor of Coca-Cola. Of course, I went with vanilla Coke. I'm not a big soda guy, but a cold vanilla Coke hits. We cheers with our creator friends. Then we headed over to the creator rooftop where my friend Brett was hosting a session with Shopify. All right, we just had to run out the house. We're running super late, but it's day 3 of Cannes. And today we mostly just have a packed like mid-afternoon. We have a LinkedIn and Adobe session again at I think at like 12 or noon or something like that. And then we're filming a production with Adobe. That's going to be about like an hour long. And I don't even know what the topics are. They haven't shared the topics with me, but I know they have a production crew. They're filming this big thing and they're editing it for me, which is going to be interesting. And then we have the rest of the night, rest of the evening pretty much free. So we're going to try to book some more meetings, hit up Kwame, see if we can get a meeting with him. It's been super hot, super busy, and we're just running on low fumes here, but last and final day. The final day started off with a session from LinkedIn at their studio. Afterwards, I hurried over to the Dentsu beach for my production filming. Adobe hired a production team to film each of the creators they brought and ask them questions about how they're leveraging Adobe Express within their business. I did a pretty bad job of updating everybody just because we've been so busy, but right now we're at a beach club in Gulf One. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but it's a 10-minute walk from where we're staying in Belarus. And we just wanted to have some time to ourselves because the past few days have been so busy. But Cannes Lions has been amazing. I'll update you guys a little bit on my thoughts so far, but I think it's going to be the biggest creator event in the entire world. And I think it's only the beginning from here. It's only the second year that creators have been at Cannes Lions, so I'm really excited that we got to be one of the first few creators attending it.
Mark my words.
There's nothing like a sandwich right after jumping in the water. I don't know what it is. I feel like you have to be wet from the ocean to enjoy this. Alright, that is a wrap on my first ever Cannes Lions. I did a horrible job, honestly, vlogging this trip, but that's just because there's so much going on. You're running around, it's super hot out, you're meeting new people. One thing I will say about this, given that this is the most prestigious marketing conference in the entire world, it started in the 50s actually in Venice, and it was really centered around advertising, but now this is the second year only that creators have been invited to this event because creators are becoming more and more a part of the advertising world and the marketing world. And I only imagine that the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity is only going to get bigger in terms of creators, and I think this is the place for influencers and creators every summer. I mean, what creator or influencer wouldn't want to go to the south of France every single year? So we are in the infancy of this all, and I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough to have had come to the first few years where creators have a presence. So I hope to come back next year. We of course extended a little bit and just enjoyed the south of France. Between the boat rides, the beach clubs we went to, this was an amazing time, and I'm excited to share it all with you and hopefully see you back next year. But for now, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my espresso and my croissant, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.